folks, how are you? Welcome to the Woods Miller channel. So we're kind of hiding out in the woodshed today. We've got a pretty nasty north wind blowing here the last couple of days, and it's really cooled everything down. So usually this little table I just kind of have sitting outside by my shed there, but the wind keeps blowing there pretty good. So our wood shed is down, obviously now at this point of the year, right? So I actually have some room. I had some room to put the table in here, so that's what we're doing for today. It's a little darker in here. You know, not the best lighting, but you should be able to see enough to to work on this. So still picking away at this old this little Frontier saw. Or is it the Mark 1 Frontier automatic? So this is a friend's saw. It used to be his dad's. He's just kind of looking to fix it up. So I ended up getting it going. When he gave it to me, like, it wasn't really running or anything, and then I came to find too it had a pretty steady gas leak. So here's the gas tank here. So I pulled that off, and it didn't look like there was a gasket or anything in there. It just had like a thin, compound from back in the day, like some sort of sealant that looked. So that's kind of all I did too. So I just, cleaned it off. The surface kind of as good as I could. And then I used this this contact adhesive. It's called Seal All. In Canada here, you just pick it up at Canadian Tire. It was cheap, right? It was like $8 or something. And so it's gas and oil resistant, so perfect, right? I got the oiler here and the fuel tank there. So had I had this stuff beforehand, I don't even know if I would have pulled that off. I would have just left the original seal on and then just gone around the outer seam and just sealed that in. That probably would have been adequate enough, but I ended up taking it apart and anyway use this. So the next step here is to find out if this is sealed. So I got to put some fuel in this, and hopefully it's sealed up, and then I can basically, finish this saw. So it ended up, Buddy wanted to give the saw back to his dad, and it's his 70th birthday coming up in like a couple weeks or something. So he's like, oh, it'd be cool to fix up the paint, right? Try to match the paint. So I got a paint match. I got just like a little, not even a half pint size of paint. It wasn't cheap. It was about $70. I haven't looked at it yet, but supposedly it's a match to this orange here. So that's kind of be exciting to see. So I already started with some primer on a couple pieces. I didn't prime this yet because I want to make sure that this tank isn't leaking first. So I got some self-etching primer on a couple pieces here. Once I verify that this tank is sealed, then I'm going to put some primer on this and let that dry for a day, and then do a couple coats of that custom orange paint that I got. And they called it Custom Orange Frontier, so that's pretty cool. Yeah, it wasn't cheap. So anyway, yeah, let's get some gas in this, and hopefully it doesn't leak out. And I'm going to try starting it, see if it's still running. Like, all I did really was replace the spark plug, and I just cleaned out the carburetor. I didn't even pull it out and really clean it. I just used some carb spray cleaner and just kept cycling that stuff through, running the saw, shooting it in, and it was running pretty decent enough for an old saw, what it is, right? So, you know, without getting into like completely pulling this thing apart, and I don't have the time to do that stuff. Like I enjoy doing it to an extent, but I'm more of an operator. I enjoy using the saw more than, I like, you know, doing, you know, maintenance on saws and keeping them running good and stuff like that. But like, you know, when it comes to like rebuilding stuff and doing that, it's not really my thing. So, and it's very time consuming. So, right. A lot of the guys that work on these saws, they know, like, they could be working on someone's saw for months. Really, I get it. I see how long stuff takes, and you got to do little steps, and it just keeps, days go on, weeks go on. So it's very time consuming. So anyway, like I said, I'm more of an operator, or I am an operator. Like I use the saws. I'm a tree worker. I run them. That's my enjoyment of saws. So anyway, you know, it's been a learning experience. I've had fun with it, but I'm ready to get this thing over with and move on for sure. So anyway, like I said, let's get some gas in this thing, and hopefully she's sealed, and then we can move on to the next step. So I'm filling this tank pretty much right up, right? Because I want to test the whole seam here, make sure it's not leaking out anywhere. So trying to get this back together enough so we can try to fire her up and make sure she's still kind of running. And then I'll let the fuel sit for a while. Probably really, I should even like overnight. I mean, I'm kind of crunched for time. I got to get this thing done. Like, it's just, but I should probably let it sit overnight before I do start any painting on this main body here. Like, so I don't feel anything so far, so that's good. But this stuff seems pretty wicked. It seems super strong, and it's easy to apply. It's almost like a molasses, so it holds good, and then it dries pretty quick too. Like 10 or 12 minutes is sort of drying, and then like I think it's like 5 to 8 hours curing time or something like that. So I basically let it sit overnight, sort of thing. But I like that stuff, and like it takes paint good too. I think it's saying it works even better if you paint over it afterwards. I'm liking what I'm seeing so far here, so I ain't seeing any leakage anywhere. It's only been in there for a couple minutes, but so far so good. Yeah, so let's see if we can get this thing fired up and running here. Try not to get greasy hands on my freshly primed piece here either, but come on, girl. She's cranky to start, I know that. But she's nice and sealed. That gas tank is nice and sealed. We got one good thing. Can't have it all, I guess, eh? Old saws. You know what? let them die. They're cool, but they're farting around, right? I like to start the saw and getting to work. So okay, so we got it running. The tank, so far so good, is sealed. I'm gonna let it sit overnight before I start priming the main body here. I just want to make sure that it's not leaking. I'm pretty confident that it's not gonna. That seal all stuff, it's like an automotive, yeah, the seal all contact adhesive here. It's awesome. And obviously gas and oil resistant is a huge, I looked at a lot of different products and like 98% of them had no labeling saying that they were gas resistant. You know, lots of stuff was like oil resistant and that, but in terms of gas, fuel, like very, like no products really. This was pretty much, without ordering something online, this is the only one that I found that was actually gasoline resistant, which was obviously very important. I'm trying to seal a gas tank, so anyway, I'm gonna let this sit overnight with a full tank of gas and just make sure tomorrow, if everything's dry and there's no sign of leak, then I'm gonna finish the prime. And I already got this one. Well, I'm gonna do one more shot of prime on this. Just get a good prime coat on it. It's pretty good, but I may as well get 2 coats of prime on it. And I'm gonna do 2 coats of the Orange Pioneer custom paint. And should be good to give back to Buddy for his dad's birthday there. So I'll do one more video on this saw once it's finished. It's all painted up, you know, looking good, basically ready to give back to Buddy there. And I'll fire it up again. I'm going to sharpen the chain on it and, you know, just have it cleaned up as much as I can and ready to go. I doubt his dad's really going to be using this thing. It's more of just like sentimental thing, but I mean, you know, he wanted it running and whatever, so it is running. And it's running and it's going to look good, and the gas tank is not leaking, so you can't really ask for more than that. With these old saws, right, you could be opening a can of worms. So, and it's time consuming, like I said. So anyway, that's it for now, and we'll show you the finished product on the next vid. Enjoy the video if you watched, and thanks for checking out. We'll catch you on the next one.